Based on the webtoon Knuckle Girl, comes the live adaptation of the same name. Ran, a delinquent girl who turned her life around through boxing, is once again plunged into the underworld in order to save her little sister. Only this time, the world of organized crime is far different from a boxing ring. Let's join Ran and her support group, Naruse, Shun, and Suzuki, as they all knock around a few heads in the name of justice. An old fisherman mends his net and says goodbye to his mate when he notices something. A white van started smoking with someone still inside before exploding. A boxing match is starting with Tachibana Ran as the main card. The announcers praised her potential, and after a second, the bell rings and the fight begins. It's clear to see that Ran is dominating this fight. After a one-sided exchange, she wins by knockout. Her coach praises her immensely, stating that she could be a champion one day. Ran eventually goes home, which is above the boxing gym. After messaging her little sister, she turns in for the night. The next day is another training routine for Ran. Back in the gym, she receives a call and she urgently rushes over the hospital. She reaches the morgue and was informed by the cops that her sister passed away in a fire. The cops logically concluded that her sister Yuzuki committed suicide, to which Ran strongly objected to. But the police chief insisted that it was really her, and they also found her phone in the car and they have DNA evidence. Ran was about to give up, but she noticed a distinct feature. The body didn't have the same double tooth as Yuzuki. Ran pointed this out, but the chief again waived the DNA test certificate and dismissed her flatly. Upset by this development, Ran stormed out the room while the chief concluded the case. Back at Ran's aunt and uncle's place, she had a fight with them both. Apparently, they have been taking care of Yuzuki, but it's clear that the uncle is only doing it for the money. Ran is with her coach when she shares a fond memory with her and Yuzuki. She visited Ran at the boxing gym and brought her a snack. There, Ran discovered that their uncle is hitting Yuzuki, so she promised her that she'll get them an apartment once she gets the money. It got late, so Yuzuki ended up spending the night with Ran. Ran's coach dropped some pearls of wisdom before advising her to take a break to collect herself. A shady gentleman is gorging himself with steak as he watches the news of Yuzuki's alleged suicide. Ran went back to her auntie's place to collect Yuzuki's belongings when she comes across an access card. She decides to check out the Junan club for any clues. The cards still work, and she was able to walk all the way to the main floor asking everyone if they saw Yuzuki. But she was confronted by guards, and they start to drag her away. Ran asserted herself and broke free, but the guard carelessly called Ran's sister dead when she didn't even mention it. She was then unceremoniously beat up and choked unconscious before being sent away. In a half-alive state, she was injected with various drugs and start to hallucinate. When she came to, she was recovering in Naruse's room. He countered the drug's effects with an antidote of his own. Naruse infiltrated the Junan group and managed to hack its security cameras. He found a footage of Yuzuki 3 days after her supposed suicide. Yuzuki is of much importance to the Junan group for them to fake her death. The Junan group is a massive corporation holding an underground fight club called the Garage. Naruse's father was a BJJ champion who once fought and died in a garage fight. The Junan group and police covered up the whole incident with a fake story. This provided enough motivation for Naruse to plot his revenge. Vice President Shiraishi is addressing the board members regarding the choosing of the next president when Nikaido nonchalantly walked in and spoiled the mood. The VP then confronted him shortly after to diss him about being the last to be considered for the presidency. Nikaido diffused the tension by offering Shiraishi a cigar, but when he left, Nikaido can still feel the lingering resentment. Ran dropped by the police station again and tried to reappeal her case with Yuzuki, but she was again dismissed by the chief when she presented hard proof that Yuzuki was indeed missing. Ran has had enough and decided to do things on her own. She heads straight back to the gym, gathered her things, packed up, and left. The next day, the coach found her gloves and a farewell note. Later that night, Suzuki was starting to get suspicious about the Yuzuki case and requested Handa to secretly investigate the DNA test results. Kito is having a one-sided match with another fighter, and while he's busy, Nikaido is reviewing the security footage the other day. The betting traffic in the garage has been on the decline lately, so Nikaido went on to have a word with Kito. After both praising him for his performance and reprimanding him for ending it too quickly, he challenged Kito to fight him. Kito half-heartedly attacked but got countered. He got told off for what he did to Ran and was about to get done in when the VP arrived. VP Shiraishi showed up and pompously remarked on how disgusting the place is. Apparently he heard that Nikaido is buying up properties to turn into another branch of the garage to which the VP is strongly opposed to. Ran visits her ex, Shun, and tells him all that's happened so far. He lets her stay in his shop in the meantime, so Ran got comfortable. Naruse was still busy, but he messaged Ran to just sit tight for now. Ran found a pair of knuckle dusters and begins shadow boxing when Shun stops her. Knuckle dusters are illegal, and he discourages her to stop whatever she's up to. Naruse was tailing one of his leads, Azuma, and alerts Ran as well. She wastes no time in heading out to meet him. Naruse wanted to wait it out, but Ran impatiently infiltrated the compound. She silently stalked the place and saw the gang disposing of the fighter's body who lost earlier. Azuma, who is Nikaido's right-hand man, is doing a drug deal and Ran wanted to catch them in the act. Unfortunately, she was the one who got caught first. Then all hell breaks loose. Naruse got involved. Even Shun got in on the action. Azuma got a good hit in, but the knuckles came in handy at the last second. Ran manages to knock out Azuma, so the group took this chance to escape. Handa reports to Suzuki about the DNA report, and it's as he suspected, it was tampered with. She then tells him that Yuzuki actually has a very rare blood type called RH null, which only a few people have, which is also called the golden blood. Suddenly the chief arrives, and they both keep quiet. Both of them continue to chat, and Suzuki is determined to see this through. Handa, however, backs out. Back at Nikaido's HQ, Police Chief Oishi was indeed on his payroll. Nikaido was disappointed with all that's happened so far, but the chief promised to handle it. But Nikaido decides to punish him by cutting some of the fat. He then orders Azuma to get Ran into the ring to fight Kito. Now time for some halftime trivia. Miyoshi Ayaka, who plays as Tachibana Ran in Knuckle Girl, also played as Rizuna Ann in the Netflix thriller series Alice in Borderland. Hideaki Ito, who plays as Haruki Nikaido, also played as the main character Kamachi Shukichi in the 2016 sci-fi film Terraformars. Now back to regular programming. Naruse managed to get Azuma's phone and hack it as well, which gives them enough evidence. Then suddenly, Azuma himself calls asking for his phone back in exchange for letting Ran see her sister. But when Ran arrives at the location, Azuma provokes her to see if she agrees to fight Kito. When Ran didn't take the bait, he makes a deal to return Yuzuki if she wins against Kito. Azuma shows Yuzuki briefly and tells Ran that she's allowed to use her knuckle dusters in the fight. Back at their HQ, Shun is against the match, but Naruse tells them it's a good opportunity to infiltrate the garage and steal more data. Suzuki visits Ran's gym and spoke with her coach. Outside, he was met with Naruse. Ran was training by herself, but Shun decided to help her out. Together, they cook up a strategy against Kito. Yuzuki is strapped to a chair, while her blood is extracted to be used as biometric authentication for the garage's entire security system. Only Nikaido can unlock it. Naruse was able to obtain a layout of the Junan club and locate the garage within it. Suzuki is ready to tell his team about it, but Naruse stopped him and tells him the possibility that Junan would have moles within the police force. Instead, Naruse suggested they both infiltrate the garage and access the servers for more evidence. So that's exactly what they did. On that same night, Ran also arrived at the club to face Kito. Azuma welcomes her and leads her to the lift that will take them down to the garage. And soon enough, they arrive at the center stage, and Shun helps prep Ran. Naruse and Suzuki also arrived at their destination. After dispatching the guards, Naruse finds the server room. They both stealthily move in, and Naruse begins extracting the data while Suzuki looks for more evidence elsewhere. And soon enough, Nikaido gives the signal to start and the two fighters are introduced. The odds were 30-2 in favor of Kito. Both of them are raring to go. The cage opens and they move into the ring. After a brief stare down, they clash. Ran is quicker and more agile than Kito. But an early mistake got her into a world of hurt. Ran is a more technical fighter, but a rear naked choke and a triangle choke didn't work on such brute force. She finds an opening and quickly exploited it. Ran lost herself for a minute there, but Shun was able to bring her back. And yet the crowd demands blood. Suzuki found the drives for the security cameras and managed to get one. Naruse also finished his download and packs up. Suzuki, however, was cornered by the chief. He tried to appeal to the chief's sense of honor, but the chief is already far gone. Naruse witnessed what happened and escapes. Nikaido steps in the ring and orders Ran to finish off Kito, since the fight will only end if one is dead. But Ran refused and instead demands Yuzuki be returned. Nikaido didn't listen and finishes off Kito. It seems Nikaido has no intention of honoring the deal and returning Yuzuki. But then they receive an alert that the police are on their way. Apparently it's time to bail out. Naruse finds Shun and Ran, so they move out, but not before fighting their way out of a horde of guards first. The police finally arrive, but all the guests have already evacuated. The next day, fake news was aired which made Kito the ringleader of the garage, while Ran and her friends were the criminals who killed Suzuki. Handa didn't believe the news and confronted Chief Oishi about the DNA results, but he dismissed her. He stepped out a bit and threatens Azuma, but was done in by one of Azuma's men. VP Shiriishi visits Azuma and offers him a deal. So they invite Nikaido into a trap. The VP even praised him for using rare blood as a means of authentication. But just when they thought they had him cornered, Nikaido was able to grab the gun and dispatch the bodyguard without hesitation. Azuma did the rest. Naruse was able to figure out Yuzuki's blood biometric security was for the garage's deposit account. But he was able to lock in their crypto account so they can't convert it to cash. He then gave the key to Ran. Then they hear a disturbance above their boat hideout. When Shun checks it out, he was attacked. Ran was distraught, but she heard from Naruse that Shun made it, although he's in the ICU. With a final resolve, Ran sets things in motion. She hijacks Azuma's car and holds him hostage until he gets to speak with Nikaido. Ran tells him that they locked out his finances and she offers him a deal. Return Yuzuki and she'll give him the key. Handa was taking a nap when she suddenly got a notification. Naruse sent her all the staggering evidence they've collected so far. Azuma and Ran arrive at the meetup point, but a sudden electrical disruption proved enough distraction for Ran to lose her advantage. Nikaido and Ran confront each other, but Nikaido isn't interested with the key anymore. He just wants to fight Ran. He'll return Yuzuki if she wins. Ran is now in the fight of her life. From the beginning, the match proved to be one-sided. Ran is just a punching bag at this point. Yuzuki is begging Nikaido to stop, while Azuma is really enjoying himself. After Nikaido has been satisfied, he orders Azuma to finish off Ran. This is when Yuzuki springs into action and grabs the gun from Azuma. She unloads on Nikaido and manages to land one hit, yet this is that one chance that Ran needed, and she wastes no time in taking it. However, she decides to spare Nikaido and let the authorities handle everything. After some time, Yuzuki is seen sitting at a boxing event accompanied by Shun. Ran is making her way to the ring for her next match.